So good morning, Ali Abbasi. Your film Border is one of the main discoveries of the festival. It's a great film, a very surprising film, and very unexpected. You seem to develop a strong interest in genre cinema, in fantasy and fantastic cinema. Border belongs to this genre, even if it's a very unconventional treatment of the genre.
Yeah.
And so Border is the title because the lead character, she's a custom officer. She's working at the border, but it's mostly because it's a border between non-human and humans. She doesn't really know which part she belongs, and it's mostly a story about discovering what you really are. It's a quest of the origin of
and also deciding who you want to be, because what I think is interesting about us, I mean, even when you do stuff that is about dogs and cats and fairies, and like you cannot avoid doing stuff. All our literature and art is about human beings, really. And in this particular case, I think this movie is also about the experience of being the other, being a minority, and that can reflect. You don't even have to be a numerical minority. I mean, like as a woman, you can also feel or be treated as a minority. I think actually that experience of being the other or being minority is something almost everybody has experienced in their life at one point or the other, where you end up living your life according to somebody else has set up rules and framework for how you want to live your life, how you behave, and you have to adapt to that, even if you're not, it's against your way of living and your principles.
It's questioning the gender about sexuality, and it's proposing a very original and new approach of sexuality with the two lead characters. It's also dealing with love and desire and sexuality, but I think in a very new way.
In literature and art and other areas of culture, I think there's been a long tradition of everything doesn't have to be binary. It's like all the love stories doesn't have to be between a man and a woman. And I think in cinema we're a bit more narrow-minded, I would say, or we have been. And I think when I started doing Border, I didn't really think much of I'm gonna look into gender roles and I'm gonna propose a new idea there. I was just doing a love story, and for me the gender part is not as important as the romantic part and their emotions. And as I said, no matter if it's a movie about a dog or a president, I would take their characters feeling as serious as anybody else. So I think, but it's interesting, as you say, now there are a couple of other movies also here in Cannes that are have the same kind of themes and same kinds of approaches, and that's interesting to see how an idea pops out in different places in the world.
Hur fick vi det där?
Det här?
Ja.
Jag blev träffad av blixten när jag var barn.
Nej. Titta. Blixten är inte att leka med. Känn om du vill.
The film is based on a short novel by the famous writer linguist. It's the author of Let the Right One In. You can see some similarities between the films because it's also dealing about urban legend and how creature, non-human creature, vampires or trolls are living among us, and nobody really realizes who they are, even themselves. It's a very realistic approach of a myth and fantastic legend. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what I really liked about Jan's, the author's universe is this a way of approaching the supernatural, where he places the supernatural elements in the banal reality, and somehow they become also banal. I mean, like in the Let the Right One In, being a vampire was not a big deal, you know. So you just was, because you were living in a suburb of Stockholm like everybody else. And I really like that approach. And you know, I'm also interested in, you know, I'm not a very avid genre fan. You know, I'm not. I did Shelley, which was you know conceived as a horror movie. I didn't think it was as such, and the reason I'm interested in like working in the genre territory is because like I'm mostly interested in, you know, people as animals. You know, I'm interested in people's like, you know, subconscious and their dreams and hallucination and all those things. And I think in the genre territory, you have a play field where you can play with those things, and you know you have the license to be weird, you know, and that's what I like about the whole, you know, genre universes.
Vad gör du?
Bien, merci beaucoup, Ali, and congratulations for your film in the Un certain regard section. Thank you. Thank you.
Jag går och ringer polisen.